The news. It's been around for centuries. It's changed a lot. One thing that doesn't change is the controlling of the narrative. Dogs are cute and wrecks happen. But don't you want to know what's really going on in the world around you? Scouring the internet, there are thousands of stories that are there, but they're in small print or on an ad, and maybe they didn't make the news. Those are the too real for TV stories. So let's take a look at a few. But be warned, some of these stories can leave an imprint, a stain on your subconscious. Welcome to The Den, where the dark energy appears and we talk about it. Florida man confesses to murder after human foot found sticking out of his yard. A man in Florida confessed to murdering his roommate because the roommate threw the suspect's plate full of food on the ground. Brian Marquez was arrested Sunday, February 12th. Police said they were called to a house in Fort Pierce after someone said they saw blood in the backyard in what appeared to be a shallow grave. When officers arrived on scene, they found a body somewhat buried in an 18-inch deep hole, and a foot was partially exposed. Blood, rocks, gloves, plywood, shovels, and a blanket were collected by investigators from the yard. An autopsy of the body confirmed the person buried was a Hispanic man between the ages of 35 to 45 years old. He had significant facial injuries, broken ribs, and a broken nose. Marquez was interviewed by police immediately, taken into custody due to a separate outstanding warrant for his arrest. Once he was at the police station, he was questioned about the body and whether or not he had anything to do with the murder. Police said Marquez confessed to the crime, saying he killed his roommate, who he only knew as Guanato. Marquez said the victim threw his plate full of food on the ground and disrespected him. He didn't do anything immediately, but after having some drinks, he decided to approach his roommate. Marquez said he started punching him in the ribs, face, and nose, which knocked him to the ground. Once his roommate was on the ground, Marquez said he grabbed dirt and gravel, then shoved it into his mouth. When the suspect yelled at the victim to stand up, the victim didn't move, and Marquez said that's when he realized his roommate was dead. Instead of calling police, Marquez allegedly said he dragged the body across the yard, dug a shallow grave, buried the victim, and then went to sleep. Marquez remains in jail and has been charged with first-degree murder. Dark energy can come in the form of even alcohol. Yes, that's why it's called spirit. We all know that, right? We all know it was made by man, and we all know that it can make you turn into someone or something that you're not. It goes deeper than that, but we don't even have enough time to talk about that, because I know some of y'all are like, wait, why is he saying alcohol is, a spirit and it was made by man and da-da? Because of course, yeah, it was made by man, but the ideal came from somewhere, right? What energy gave that man that ideal? But again, that's for another day. So he went and he drank his alcohol, and that's when he said, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna take care of business. So he let this dark energy move him through the room. He let his shadow side win. His shadow side approaches his roommate, and he probably uncontrollably beat the shit out of him, right? Which is why we have this story here. And then he's so out of it that he digs a shallow grave with his foot sticking out and just goes to sleep. Now, and tell me that's not dark energy. I've been drunk plenty of times. We all have drinks, but pretty sure I can remember things and I wouldn't go off and do something as dark as this. But when you already have demons with you and you're already fighting against demons, and maybe life isn't going this way and a lot of clusters piled up inside of your energy, you tend to do things you wouldn't do because maybe you're in that trance. Some of you out there know what I mean when I say that trance. At the end of the day though, the choice is still yours. You still control your vessel. You still control your journey. You can let your shadow side win and things like this will happen. Or you can become the best version of yourself and change how this game is played. At the end of the day, the choice is yours. Prosecutors seek death penalty against Florida bodybuilder accused of murdering his wife and burning her body. Prosecutors in Florida announced they will seek the death penalty in the case of an ex-Marine bodybuilder accused of murdering his wife and then torching her body. In September 2022, Ian Bonnock, 43, was arrested after Katie Bonnock, 39, dropped her kids off at a friend's house while she went to his house to pick up some of her belongings she had there. She failed to return, and a deputy from the Hendry County Sheriff's Office spotted her car in Ian's driveway with her purse still inside. The deputy left when he was unable to make contact with anyone at the home, but returned 45 minutes later to find Katie's car parked in the street. A search warrant showed evidence that a homicide had occurred inside the residence. Authorities then obtained a second search warrant that included Ian's property. He reportedly tried to stop investigators from executing the warrant. During the search, detectives found blood in several locations, including inside the trunk of Ian's car and in a hallway in the home, where police believe a struggle occurred. Katie's wedding and engagement rings were located in a safe in the house, as well as illegal silencers, multiple weapons, and unprescribed steroids. Ian spoke with investigators and claimed his ex-wife came over to the house and they got into an argument, but he said he went to bed to avoid escalating the situation. He claimed she was was gone when he woke up. When asked why his ex's car was in his driveway, Ian allegedly said that they did not have a body and Katie probably wasn't even missing. Investigators recovered a fragment of a human bone and an intact tooth in a burn pile, along with a 50-gallon drum that they said reeked of decaying flesh and held another partial human bone. The remains were determined to belong to Katie, and Ian was placed under arrest. He was charged with premeditated murder, destruction of physical evidence, use of a two-way communication device to facilitate a felony, cremating a dead body 48 hours after death, and failure to report a death. Ian pled not guilty, and his attorney Robert P. Harris said it was disappointing that the state is now seeking the death penalty against his war hero. Prior to Katie's murder, Ian was accused several times of domestic violence but was never prosecuted. 6 weeks before her remains were found, a judge denied her request for a protection order against Ian and told the pair to get over your anger for each other and do therapy or do something, because what you're doing to your kids is just an abomination. So because of that judge, she's dead. Because of this shitty system, she's dead. We know people's energy. Katie knew his energy could kill. Katie tried to explain this, but you're not feeling that. You're just being delusional when he's the delusional one. But because he served in your military, he served in your made up army, in your made up bullshit, he played your game, you let him murder her and let him dictate what the story should be. It said here several times he was accused of domestic violence, several times, and he never was prosecuted. Why? Because he served in your made up story, your military, your army. Katie was invalid because she was his wife and he was in the military, so everything he does has to be right. So now she has to be unalive because this dark energy got to hide behind another dark energy. And what I mean by that is he was a dark energy and the energy of, military. We can go into that too, but that's a dark energy that created that as well. So what we have here is somebody that infested with a whole bunch of dark energy inside of his body. Sounds like he's been doing it for years. She put up with it. She tried to get away. She had no support. She had no help from her fellow people. And when I say fellow people, that's us. She had people telling her she needs to go to therapy. As you can look at the pictures, he probably portrayed himself as this great Marine guy that served his country and loved the red, white, and blue. So that's a good energy to hide behind. When you're a dark energy, when you can hide behind that, because people here believe that story to be magnificent. They believe that story to be so grand. So a lot of dark energies like to get behind that and they like to hide because then they can get away with their bullshit. Just like police hide behind badges. It's the same thing. That's another dark energy. The police force is a dark energy as well. It was created from a dark intent. Policemen were created to go get slaves and stuff. That's a dark intent. So the energy was created through a dark energy. So it's going to always be dark. The DNA is dark. Just like this guy hiding behind another shield of darkness. So it looks good. It looks like, well, he was in the Marines and he did this and he's great. But you don't know the whole time he's a piece of shit, beating on her, controlling her. But just because he raised your fake flag, he's a war hero, as his lawyer stated. I can't believe they're doing this to their own war hero. We all know how this works. It's not rocket science. We know if you all keep making the choices to keep having these type of energies and these type of stories going, then that choice will be yours. I'm just a messenger.